KILR Killer Games.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer and welcome to the Chicago tour featuring Flight Simulator 1. We're calling it the Chicago tour instead of the World tour because we truly are limited for the moment to this area of Chicago. Now we do have the areas of Los Angeles, New York, and Seattle, and we would do those separately as separate little tours because scenery discs are not going to work with this version. I've tried. If I click here and I hit E, because E is what you use for Flight Simulator 2, it doesn't do anything. If you do Control E, still nothing. Shift E, still nothing. And so there won't be any scenery discs on there, and besides that, the this Chicago area doesn't even have all the airports. It's only got 5, and we'll go ahead and show that to you, and we'll also show you the flight plan that that we'll be going through. So let me go ahead and show you the actual map. This isn't the official map from Flight Simulator 1. This is altered from Flight Simulator 2. But right here, you can see this is all we've got. Merrill C. Meigs, Chicago O'Hare, Chicago Midway. Wait a minute. There's, oh yeah, Greater Kankakee. And if we look slowly scroll down here, you get University of Illinois Willard. These VORs are all here, with the exception of Bloomington, which is here. That one is not in there. I have tested each and every one of these to see if they were in the actual simulator. And this is all that we have. And I utilized all the north and east coordinates for the airports to see if there was anything there. There wasn't, with the exception of those 5. As far as the VORs, when I went into the areas, I just checked the VOR to see if it worked. So that's simply what I did. So I blanked out the ones that aren't here. Interesting enough, the airports that are here are the ones that have the fuel boxes. All the other airports that were here for Flight Simulator 2 don't have fuel boxes. So I don't find that as a coincidence. That seems logical. And although I have not tested the ILS, if we make this disappear here, take a look at VOR 1. Right here, you can see there's a horizontal, the vertical indicators. So I believe that the ILS will work, and we'll test that when we get down there. Now, let me show you the route that we're taking and the reason why we're going to take this route. Okay, so we're here at Chicago O'Hare. We're going to fly to this DuPage VOR, and then we're going to fly, we'll fly just past it, and we're going to catch a radial of Chicago Heights, and we're going to come down this way, and then we'll turn, and then we'll catch the Chicago O'Hare radial and come this way to Chicago Midway, and we'll land here. Now, why are we doing that? Well, let me pull up the actual Flight Simulator 2 map, which is right here. So I want to try to match what we're doing on the world tour. We just don't have the airports to land at. But if we fly the same basic flight plan, it'll be like we're landing at those airports. It'll just be a continuous flight. So, DuPage was actually the next airport that we landed at, and then Aurora, and then Clow, and then Lansing, and then Chicago Midway. So do you get the idea of what I'm doing here? So we'll be flying in this direction as if we're going to DuPage. We'll fly past it as if we're going to Clow. And you'll notice that from Aurora to Chicago Heights, there's a radio that's close that will take us, if Clow was there, it would take us over there. And then here, Chicago Heights, if we turn this direction, it's almost like we're hitting Lansing and then straight to Midway. So that's the idea. That's the idea that we're going with. So we will alter course a little bit because my intention is to hit every VOR that's on the Chicago map. So there's one extra VOR that we'll be going to, and then one VOR that we're not going to because it's not there. So the Bloomington one is obviously not there because I mentioned it wasn't. And well, there's the Pontiac one, that one's there. Roberts is there. Danville. Okay, so yeah, after Kankakee, that's where it's going to get interesting. So instead of Bloomington, we'll go to Pontiac. And then we'll go to Gibson City. And then Danville. Hold on. Let me just pull that back up again. Hold on. Let's not do that one. Let's do that one. Okay. So we'll be heading to Joliet. Of course, there's no airport. Peotone, and then south to Greater Kankakee. Then from here, we had gone to Bloomington. Well, it's not there. So we're going to go to Pontiac instead. And I think this is too far away from University of Illinois. I don't think we'd be able to tune that in. So this is where there'll be some changes. We'll go to Roberts. We'll go to Danville. And then we'll head to Champaign, University of Illinois, Willard. So that's the way we'll go. And then we're going to head back. And we're going to do it in the evening. So that way you can get a chance to see it at night. So we'll be heading right back to Meigs Field. And then after that, well, we'll go back to Kankakee first and land there. And then to Meigs. And that'll be the conclusion of the Chicago tour. Then we'll start a new tour for New York. And we'll do Los Angeles and then Seattle. So that is the idea. I don't know what airports are listed for New York, Los Angeles, and Seattle. I know a few of them, but I don't know all of them and all the VORs. I will research that when we get to it. Let's just focus on Chicago for the moment. Okay, we'll just take that off there. And we will go ahead and get everything ready for our flight. So let's go ahead and get our magnetos on, which is M5. So we're all set to go there. Every time we start, the time is going to reset, so that's okay. It's not a big deal. Now, the question is, where in the world are we at Chicago O'Hare? We're going to use our numlock key. Now, I placed this at the same... No, actually, I think that's the runway we landed at. And I think this is a runway. Right here. I believe this is what we landed on. Although that might be a taxiway. I'm not sure. But these are the coordinates that I got from our last flight when I brought up the edit page. The edit page, by the way, is just escape. And so this works just like Flight Simulator 2. And then escape to exit. And then it just turns off the magnet. So just turn it back on. So I'm thinking we'll take off from this runway. I believe it's a runway. We'll taxi down this way and then take off. We do need to set the DuPage radio. Or do we? It might be a good idea if we do. Because I was going to do Chicago O'Hare and depart that way, but... yeah, we'll just... Oh, okay. I know what we can do. Right here, if we just go ahead and catch the DuPage radio, which would be, if that is 4, 5, the opposite of 5 would be 230. We'll set it for 230. And once we see the VOR switch from to from, then we can go look at the map and we can get the next VOR set up. And by the time we turn, that should be where Aurora is at, and then Cloud would be along the way. So I think you get the idea. Now, another thing that I could do too is I could cut the video, but I don't want to do that. Let's just kind of make this make it its own thing, but also try to match as much as we can, just kind of start with. Just the basic idea. Now I'm kind of babbling. All right, let's go ahead and get our throttle up. It's going to be F4. I know it's weird. The reference card actually says the throttle is F1, F2, F3, F4, but it's all mixed up. Everything is mapped differently. And the graphics are all over the place, just so you know. I do not know if this is because of the emulator or if it's just Flight Simulator 1. The only way to know for sure is to get an actual IBM XT machine and a copy of Flight Simulator 1 and run it from there and see if it does this. Now this runway's got a center line. I wonder if that angle, I don't think it will. I'm looking at that. I think that's just another runway. So this here, I think might be a runway. In case you're curious of what it looks out the window. Yeah, that's what it looks like. See, lines disappear and yeah, I think we're kind of going along the right way. This is supposedly, well, that looks like a center line. This is supposedly a port from Flight Simulator 2. At least it's supposed to be a port of the second generation of Flight Simulator. This is a horrible port. It's almost as if Microsoft just slapped it together, called it good, and then continued to work on it until they got it right. Okay, F8's going to bring our throttle down. Period is our brake. And we'll turn here. Oh my word, I'm not even sure where we're at. Can you even tell where the runway is at? I can't. Huh. Maybe there wasn't a runway. Maybe this is just a taxiway. The instrument panel is decent. That seems to work pretty decently, but man, the graphics out the window is just horrid. You got lines just going all over the place there. It's like the lines are just kind of going into place. It's like, ew, ew. See, I believe this is the, the parking areas. I think the fact that we've been playing Flight Simulator 2 makes it a little easier because we've already seen what this should be looking like. So it kind of gives us an idea of what we should be seeing. I saw a taxiway here, so... See, we're on something. You zoom out, and it looks correct. It looks the way that it should. Well, this is a little better here. Okay, so we'll just go straight towards the end here, and that should be the runway. It's not the one that I thought was a runway. That must have been a taxiway. Now you might be thinking, why don't you just take off from where you're at? Well, trying to pretend, what can I say? See, this looks like we're kind of sorta on the... Okay, that looks like the possible end. Bring the throttle down here. Yep. Okay. So we'll just turn here. Go look out here again. And this appears to be the runway. I think. Doesn't even look like we're straight on it. And that appears to be straight. Okay, we can kind of sort of see it. All right. Well, I think that's the edge of the runway right there. Yeah. All right. Let's change our VOR here so that way we can get going. So DuPage is 108.4. We're going to hit N for nav and then plus minus. You can see that move there. 108. Now you hit NN twice. There we go. See? See how that moves? There's no airport there, and you'll see that when we're flying over there. You won't see an airport. We'll even look at the map view and you won't see it. So we said we were going to go at a vector of 2, 3. So you hit V for VOR, and we'll do minus. You can actually hold down the key, and it will change. Go to 2, 3, 0. There we go. We're all set. So F4, bring this up. Do not hit F10. That's full throttle instantly. It will blow your engine. We learned that from our last flight. And that actually happens on the later simulators too. I didn't think it was going to do that this early. Can we get up in the air here? Yep, I think we are airborne. Yeah. So you can sort of kind of see that we're on the runway right here. And that, I think, is the other runway. Because I know there's a taxiway in here somewhere. Okay, so G for landing gear. You can see it right here. It's up. And we're at a vector of, let's see, we have to hit D. Okay, so at 274, we should be able to intersect the VOR. Now, the only type of clouds that we've got is like overcast. So let's give that a try. Let's set overcast at about 4,000. And we'll climb to about 3,000. So we'll go here. We're just gonna hit return and hold it until we get to here. All right, cloud layer 1, bottoms. Whoops, I should have put the tops first because you can't go up for some reason. Nope. And we'll go back here. 5,000. Seems decent enough. Escape. And we got gray. Okay, so that's cool. Seems like our lines disappeared. It's shaking all over the place. And I think our lines disappeared. No, okay. So the airport's behind us. You can see we did actually take off from the runway. So we're looking ahead. You can see there's no roads or anything coming out here. Take our throttle down. Try to adjust our pitch. We want to try to accomplish level flight here. It's a little challenging with this one. It seems like it wants to keep flying upwards. Let's bring down the throttle some more. See, and it's still wanting to climb up. Adjust our pitch some more. Now, another reason why I think the ILS is working here is because it's got the OMI lights. See, it's got the outer, middle, inner. And interesting enough, and this is the only old simulator that has it, or this RPM gauge. At least on the Cessna. Now when we get to Flight Simulator 3, 4, there might be another aircraft that has an RPM gauge. I don't know. I didn't really look. Boy, I tell you, that green is a little pleasing to look at than the other green. But it's kind of neat that they did that. So the clouds is making the landscape a little bit darker. So that's kind of cool, actually. Okay, I think we're getting close to level flight here. Okay. Now we're going down, but let's not go down too fast. It's starting to climb again. You know, even though it's got fuel boxes, it almost doesn't matter because you can't save the game. So when you move yourself to the airport that you were last at, it's going to reset your fuel to full, unless there's something in the options, and there's not. Yeah, there's nothing here where you can change the fuel, unfortunately. That would be cool if you could. Uh-oh, did it? Okay, that did not turn off the mags. I thought it did. But it did reset the fuel. Did you notice that? It was down a little bit. Now it's full again. Ah, there goes our needle. It's moving. Now we are turning. It doesn't look like it, but take a look at the horizon indicator. So like I said, the instruments, the gauges, seem to work pretty well. It's just the visuals are just awful. So if you like IFR flights, this is for you. And what's interesting is Microsoft still has this little curve right here for the dash, whereas the Sublogic ones didn't. So this was like a special thing that Microsoft did, I guess, to make it a little bit more of their own. Alright, let's get turned to 230 here. I think that should do it. I'm going to bring our throttle down one notch here. I don't feel like being in clouds. Although, wouldn't really matter, would it? Whether it's green on the bottom part and... I'm sorry, did I wake you up? Sorry. So either we have green on the bottom and gray, or it's all gray. It's not like there's anything exciting going on. That's why I'm trying to talk and have a conversation. I wish I had the manual for Flight Simulator 1. I could sit here and read it. Or if I took, if I did scans of the manual, we could bring it up on the screen and we can kind of go through it. I haven't been able to find a manual though. And I haven't been able to find a physical copy of Flight Simulator 1 just yet. And I would want the box and stuff. I would want it complete. This does not bring back any memories for me because I never actually played Flight Simulator 1 until this series. Okay. The needle's moving fast. That means we're about ready to pass over the vor. There it goes. Boom. Alright. We're from. Let's just hold our course. It should be lining right up in the middle again. Do you notice how there is nothing in front of us? Or there hasn't been. We just passed over DuPage. And there was no airport. Did you see that? So, I wasn't kidding. Okay, it's beginning to center itself. Alright. We've only got one nav, as you can probably already notice, so we can't tune in another one. You can't make this disappear and replace it with another vor. There's no option to do that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and bring up the map. This map here, so that way we can get our correct vectors. So with the direction we're going, Aurora would be in front of us right now. It's not, but we're going to make our turn, and we're going to catch Chicago Heights now. It's hard to see which radio we need. So not 30, but not 29. 29 would be, see, 27, 28, 29. 29 would be close, but let's do 294. And I think that will allow us to pass over. Which one's this if we go this way? Yeah, I think 294 will do it. I'm having problems with my throat lately. Okay, Chicago Heights is 114.2. See how that that changed. The vor's there. We were saying, all right, we want to go the opposite of 234. Oh, well, you know what? So the opposite is 5-4. That's what I like about the old simulator. You can see the opposite down below. So we need 5-4 is what we need. All right. Let's get ourselves turned. Well, that looks... that looked kind of dangerous. Look at that. Rely on your instruments. You can see our altimeter is good. Ooh, let's see. What do you think? A vector of 100? Wait a minute, 054. Oh, jeez. That's not what we said. We said 294, didn't we? Ooh, we're almost there then. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, we have to adjust our gyro compasses. We're going due east. Close to it anyway. So you can see we're headed back to Chicago area, so we got our roads. And I guess that river. Man, our fuel goes down pretty quick. Did you see that? That compass is like 1010101010. Man, the fuel's like on its way down. I wonder if they're doing that on purpose, so that way it encourages you to use the fuel box, I guess. We can look out the window by going scroll lock and then the numerical key, so that's scroll lock 7, scroll lock 4. We're not next to the water. That's just some type of glitch. See if we go scroll lock 5, and see it's green. Let's turn just a tad here. We're at heading of 112. That's pretty decent. We seem to be on the vector pretty decently. It's kind of locking in there. 114. see if we can get ourselves to 113. Come on. There you go. We got no distance measuring equipment. We don't know how far we are from the VOR. We just have to, again, trust our instruments. We lock into the VOR, and then once the needle starts moving quickly, well, we know we're about to pass it. Yeah, it looks like we're still climbing a little bit. We'll bring our throttle down. I did bring it up a little bit, but oh my goodness. Gotta stretch with this stuff. And I'm just kind of looking to see if there's anything I can talk about that's flight simulator related. For Flight Simulator 5 and 98, I'm trying to do a little bit of customization so that way we just don't have runways out in the middle of nowhere. So I've got Scenery and Object Designer. I do have the box. This was brand new that I bought because the first time I bought it, it didn't have the manual. So I figured I'll get a brand new copy. That way I get the manual. So with this allows me to create taxiways and place down buildings. And we've got to do that with Flight Simulator 5 because it does not have as many airports. Like Iowa's got one airport. All right, so we also have Paris. Actually, there's like 5 different locations. I have all 5 of them. But then I've also got nice brand new copy. Europe 1. So we will take a look at both Europe 1 and Europe 2 and also the Microsoft versions of Paris. Now that Europe 1, I know you've seen that from the back of the box. You know, if you've had Europe 1, Europe 2, that's the cover that shows on the back of the box of the other stuff that you can buy. And then you may have seen this. And you may be thinking, this is the first version I got. You may be thinking, is there a difference? Well, this is on floppy. The other one's on CD-ROM. And you may be thinking, well, the CD-ROM has got to have more stuff on there. Now, I think it's got like one extra file that I don't think has any consequence. But the graphics look the same. And the number of files, I compared that also. It's the same. So if you've been wanting Europe 1 and you can't find the CD-ROM version, the floppy disk version will work. You just need access to a floppy drive, and you can copy the information off that floppy and then just to your hard disk and just install it that way. Or you can install it from a floppy disk drive. I had to use a different computer that had a floppy to get the information off of it. And I've got an install of Flight Simulator 5 with that version and with the CD-ROM version. That's how I compared the two. Alright, let's bring up our throttle a little bit. No, not down. Up. Meanwhile, our fuel is going down. Gee, are we going to make this trip? If we run out of fuel, I know the engine will die. We'll just go to the edit mode and back, and it'll fill it up again. Because, hey, if we could land at one of these airports, we would, right? We got our roads, our Chicago roads out here. And it still thinks we're over water. And out this direction is just lush green grass or trees. Use your imagination. That's the thing with these old games. You gotta use your imagination. Think bigger. Oh, it's just like having little action figures, you know, just kind of playing and making your own thing. We're back with the Atari 2600, which this is about the right time frame. You know, playing a racing game that had nothing but these jagged lines. You know, we played that as like, yeah, it looked like garbage, but, you know, we're just kind of use your imagination there, and you're kind of like, oh, yeah, this is cool. And then when you got the money, you go to the arcade, and it looks a lot better. I think we're going to wind up running out of fuel. Now, if you look really closely, you can see cars on the ground moving. Just look intently at the green. You might even be able to see the drips of rain on the windshield and the sound of the wind. Oh, crack of thunder. Little bit of lightning. It's like reading a book. Flash of blue. That was a small lake we went over. Well, it looks like we're centered on 114 now. Let's take a look at our map. Zoom out here. Okay, here's Midway. This is the curve of Lake Michigan, and it kind of curves out this way. So Lansing is like right around here. Just are hitting just a tad. Nope, don't want 115. There we go. I guess maybe that's why they had 4 radios. They didn't have room to put the airports because that required the lines and stuff, but with the VOR radios, you could practice your IFR skills. That's why I decided that we were going to go ahead and land at every airport, because there's not many. And it's pretty much the major ones anyway, but we fly to every VOR. You know, we'll just make use of what's there. I'm expecting that VOR to, that needle to start moving quickly. We've got to be close to Lansing. I don't think we're going to make it to Midway on the fuel that we have. So we'll just pretend that we land at Lansing and filled up. Okay, this airport, that's Kankakee right there. It's nothing else. I checked. I double checked. Trust me, I so wanted to see other airports in here. And there's not, other than those 5 in the Chicago area. Sometimes I get the F4 and F8 confused because you think when you read left to right, oh, there it goes, it's moving. Boom, boom. All right, we'll hit escape. We'll do a refuel, come back out, and yay, we're all filled up now. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the map again. We're going to turn at not 030210. This kind of no, yeah, 030. It's like, what the heck is that? Lines all over the place. Trust your instruments. Okay. This is somewhat good. Okay, so we're basically going this direction, kind of like we're going to Lansing. I'm just saying that we landed there. All right, so now we're going to tune in Chicago O'Hare at a what is that? 3-3? Yeah, or 3-2. 3-1-3. Yeah, 3-3. So we'll tune this in at 3-3. That should get us to Midway. One 3.9. And there we go. And VOR. Okay, we just recently passed it, so we'll go and turn and meet that. It's kind of hurting my ears. All right. That should be Midway right up ahead. Let's take a look at the map. Yep, that is definitely Midway. Let's get our landing gear down. That'll create some drag and allow us to lose some altitude here. I'm going to increase our power a little bit. I don't want to go down too fast. goodness, we were dropping an altitude like crazy. Bring our pitch up. So how many people have fast forward through the video so far? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's that imagination thing again. How close are we? Getting close. Getting a tad hard to see. I'm going to bring down some flaps here. 1 degree is going to be F3. You can see that changes right here. This here is your elevator trim, and that's your throttle right there. Increase our speed. Try to control our descent here. Can't really see it other than there. This is like, you can sort of see it. It's right up here. There we go. Yeah, we're lined up with something. We're lined up with the runways here. We'll just kind of turn a little bit here. Increase our power. Trying to control our rate of descent here. Chicago Midway is an altitude of 619. Look how much the fuel's gone down since we filled it up. Well, there are some people that are probably noticing that the video is over an hour long. How can you make a video on Flight Simulator 1 an hour long? This is how. I see a nub. A nub of something here. There's like a little white nub. Definitely getting closer. I think we're more lined up with a taxiway than anything. Alright, another thing of flaps that should be... Oh, we landed. I wasn't paying attention to the altitude. We landed out in the grass. Let's pretend that didn't happen. See, imagination. It's a wonderful thing. I don't remember it going down so quickly. Last I knew it was over 1,000. It's like, what happened? It's like we lost altitude quickly. I wonder if it's because we flew over an area that was higher in altitude or lower in altitude, and now we're higher in altitude or something, and it just kind of changed. All right, bring down our altitude here. Oh, okay. There's a runway. That was my cat. All right, come on. Let's get ourselves landed here. This is not the type of simulator that you want to do a go-around. It's like we're lined up with something here. Okay. Yeah. Lines are going all over the place. Alright, we are down. F10 will cut off our throttle. I think that's the end of the runway. Not sure. All right. So you can tell by this right here that this is definitely Midway, because it's got the runways that are going through as a cross or as an X, whatever you want to call it. Alright, M1 will shut off our mags and the engine. So we're here at O'Hare, Midway. Long flight. Well, thanks for joining me. Hey, if you were able to stick through this entire flight without fast forwarding, congratulations. You deserve some ice cream, so go have some ice cream and a cookie. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Check this flight out. It's in different parts since the airports are there on the other simulators. A tad bit of graphical improvement, not much. But anyway, thanks for joining, and I hope you'll join us on the next leg of our journey. All right, take care.